And now we are moving to another keynote. What makes a world-class PMO? What factors can contribute to the success of PMO? What is the future of project management offices? Because this is the PM and PMO conference, so after Sustainable PM, it is time to hear about current affairs and news from project management office world. And there is no other speaker we could invite for this keynote but the one and only Americo Pinto. This time he is here on site, so please welcome Americo Pinto, founder and chair at PMO Global Alliance, the world's largest community of PMOs and PMO professionals, professor at renowned universities, international speaker, researcher, and author of 5 books on PMOs and project management.
Thank you very much.
Hold on for a couple of seconds. He was recently awarded the PMI Distinguished Contribution Award.
Oh,
congratulations on that. Americo, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
And by the way, just technical information for those who are watching us online, all the video stream will be at the first part of the conference. All the instructions are provided on the platform. Just look at the chat and you will see the all information. It means that all streams you will watch on the first part of our conference. It will be much easier,
sure.
not skipping from one to another. So, Americo, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
25 minutes for you, then
Hello,
Q&A.
everyone. So it's a great pleasure to be here with you today. I represent PMO Global Alliance, and we are supporting this fantastic conference, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. Professor, thank you for your great contribution. I confess that I'm feeling a little guilty because I live in Brazil, in Rio, and I took 4 flights to be here, right? Actually, Rio, São Paulo, London, Warsaw, Vilnius, 36 hours. I should spend the rest of the year planting trees, right? But I have good news about that, and I would like to share a personal experience with you, how our actions can make a difference. Actually, 4 years ago, I decided with my son, he was 8 years old, and I decided to create a family project. So every month, we spend a morning, planting small trees. We plant like 10 trees every month. So in the last years, I'm talking about 400 trees, almost 500. But what's really, really crazy is that in the beginning of this year, a local newspaper, invited me for an interview. And because of that, in the last 4 months, we are not only my son and I anymore. We are like 70 people planting trees with us every month, and I don't know, but probably now we are planting like 500, 600 trees every month. So it's interesting how our crazy ideas can make a difference, I think, right? So, and it's fun. So I suggest you to try it, right? It's a very interesting experience. So today we will talk about sustainability, but in a little different perspective, right? It's not about the word sustainability, but PMO's sustainability, because it's a big challenge for every PMO to survive and thrive, right? We have to make them sustainable over time. And I'm working in a new book with Jack Duggal. The title will be What Makes a World-Class PMO. We are working with 100 of PMO leaders around the world, trying to find what they have in common, right? What their PMOs have in common. So what make them successful? That's the idea. And that's something very interesting because, Yes, when we talk about PMO trends, if you try right now at Google, you will find many, many suggestions of PMO trends for the next years. For example, value management, remote working, data analytics, artificial intelligence, hybrid approaches. There are many of them. But if you take a look in all of them, you will see that what they have in common is that all of them are technical stuff. Right? They are technical stuff. And that's something really interesting. At PMO Global Alliance, we have one project that is called PMO Global Awards. Today is the largest awards for PMOs in the world. And we have every year many different companies representing their countries in this competition. This year, the 4 finalists are companies from South Africa, Greece, Indonesia, and Puerto Rico. And what's really interesting is that when we look these PMOs, these companies closely, we see that what they have in common is not exactly the technical stuff. The technical stuff, of course, it's important, but they are just possible solutions, things that you can try or not, depending on your company, depending on your need. But what is really behind success, it looks like something a little different. And that's what I would like to, tell you today, not as an answer for the success, but something that we can use to inspire us if we want to make a difference with our PMOs. So, okay. To start, I'd like to ask you a very simple question. What is a PMO, right? It's a very simple question. So if I ask some of you to answer this question, probably you have some great answers. For example, a PMO is the department that supports project management, or a PMO is responsible for providing methodologies and tools, or a PMO should support portfolio management and the strategy realization. Or finally, maybe you can think, no, a PMO is the area that will provide project managers to the business areas. Good. Many different ideas, right? Many different definitions. And my question for you is, which one is the correct one? That's my question. Right? I'm sure that in your head, you are thinking, oh, no, my definition is the correct one. And you are not wrong, absolutely. And why? Because a PMO is like an elephant. And I'm not saying that a PMO should be fat and slow. That's not the idea. It's just because a tale. Let me tell you a tale. The tale is, there was a guru, right? And that guy had a lot of followers. And one day, he asked his followers to be around an animal. They didn't know which animal was there, right? And they were blindfolded. They couldn't see the animal. And the guru asked them to touch the animal in front of them and tell which animal was that. And those guys, they touched the animal. The one that was in front of the elephant touched the trunk and said, oh, it looks a big snake. The other one in the tail said, it's very thin, maybe a worm. The other one close to the ear said, it's very soft, maybe a fish. So if I ask you which one was correct, you will say no one, right? It was an elephant. But in a certain way, all of them were correct because they were saying something based on their perspective, on their point of view about what the animal really was. Okay, Americo, but how it could be similar to a PMO? Let me tell you. When we talk about project management, portfolio management, program management, we have a lot of standards and references that we can use. Possibly you know that many of them, they are created based on a consensus. So like PMI, they pick people like you, experienced people, and they say, okay, how can we manage risks? How can we create a good budget? How should we prepare a scheduling? And based on a consensus, you will suggest the best way of doing that, right? However, when we talk about PMOs, it doesn't happen like that. Remember when I asked you what is a PMO? You have different points of view, and there is no right and wrong. Why? Because PMOs are much more complex than project management, actually. They will be different from company to company, and they must be different. If there is a key to success, maybe this is one of them. It means that if you try to copy someone just because you see success at your neighbor, right? Possibly you will fail because, again, PMOs, they are different and they should be different. Let me tell you a little more. Look, there are many types of PMOs, right? If you try to read a couple of books, if you read some articles, you Google this topic, you will find many different suggestions. For example, controlling PMO, consultative PMO, that one is very trendy, VMO, Value Management Office. People love this one, Agile PMO. There are many of them. If you take the most recent PMO books, the last 10 PMO books published, you will see 10 different suggestions in terms of types of PMOs. Some of these authors will suggest 3 types, 4 types, 5 types, totally different names. So, if we have 10 different suggestions, 10 different proposals, which one is the correct one? Again, right? And the answer is all of them, because each author has a different perspective of this phenomenon. The problem is when you believe that you have to take one of them. When you say, okay, the first thing that I have to do when I'm implementing a PMO is to choose the type of the PMO. That's exactly the point. Because when you do that, it's like if you decide to take one of these boxes, right? And you say, okay, the box that I want is the Agile PMO. You have no idea about what you have into this box. But you are saying that that's the box that you need. And why? Because it's trendy, you know, people are talking about that. It's look a very cool solution. And okay, let's take one of them. Let me tell you more about this idea. Look, when we do that, it's like we are in the supermarket and we are trying to find the ideal type of PMO. Oh, the ideal type of PMO for me is the Value Management Office, is the Agile Office. The point is, I can assure you that from time to time, new types of PMOs will arise, right? In the next years, very cool new types of PMOs will arise. I don't know. The names, possibly very fancy names. The Metaverse PMO, the Tantric PMO, I don't know. But they will be there, I assure you. The point is, which one is the ideal type? Is there an ideal type? So, the point is, look, I took these 3 types from the PM book, right? You can see that we have some descriptions here, right? And remember, when you believe that you have to find the ideal type, it means that you are choosing one of these boxes. And when you open the box, you find these things. That's what is supposed that your PMO should do. My question is, why can't you take different items from different boxes? Why can't you open all of them and take what is important for you? Why should you take one box? Why should you make one ideal option? The reality, the real world shows that it doesn't work. Look, the point is, do you believe in magic pills? We know that magic pills are something really, really common in the enterprise world, right? But we also know that they usually doesn't work very well, especially because we are always trying to find the next one. And it happens all the time in companies, in many companies, when we talk about PMOs. The point is, when we try to take one of the ideal models, the ideal model, the type of PMO is the blue cube. And your company is the red and green box, right? And you say, no, the ideal PMO is the value management office, is the agile office. You just took one of the boxes and now you are trying to make it fit. It doesn't make any sense because it should be the opposite. What does my company need? Look, possibly your PMO will be something like that, right? I don't know, it's a Panda penguin PMO. Why not? Because you can take the head from one box, the body from another box, the tail from another box, and at the end, that's your PMO. Is it common? Is it usual? Maybe not, but it doesn't matter. That's what we see in the most successful PMOs. They are not committed with types, models. They are committed with what really matters. Results. So, look, when we understand that, right, the first thing, the first next thing that we should consider is about value. Value. When I mention value, probably the first thing that comes to your mind is money, right? Money. The problem is, it's really difficult to show the value of project management. Many people tried it. A few years ago, if you are members of PMI, you can download a very interesting book named Researching the Value of Project Management. This book was published by PMI and written by 2 researchers from Canada. And it's a very interesting book. It's an academic book, but anyway, very, very interesting. And the results, the conclusion of this book was inconclusive. Look, I'm not saying that there is no value. I'm saying that it was not possible in an empirical way to show some kind of relationship or correlation between, I spend $1, €1 in project management and it will bring me 10 euros in terms of business results, right? Okay, is it a problem? No, it's not a problem, but why does it happen? Because project management is not the end. Project management is not a business. Project management is something that supports the business. And when we talk about PMOs, it's worse because PMOs support project management that support the business. Can you see that? So there were other attempts to show the value of PMOs. I will not mention all of them right now. But what I want to tell you is that there are some interesting research. They were developed by PMO Global Alliance, and we tried to propose a different approach. Instead of considering that value is money, we tried to propose a different approach. It came from other fields. For example, customer service, customer experience, marketing, psychology. Instead of money, we are talking about perception of value. Perception of value is not money. Perception of value is a feeling. It's that feeling that at the end of the day, when you ask your executive, do you believe that the PMO is something valuable for you? He or she will tell you, yes, I think so. It's important for me. And if you ask again, okay, but tell me why, he or she will say, I don't know. I don't know exactly why, but I feel that what you are doing is really important for me. That's what makes PMO sustainable. over time, right? That's what will make you survive and thrive. So how can we do that? How can we create perception of value? Here comes the answer. The point is, for a long time, PMOs were committed with the technique, committed with all the technical stuff like methodologies, tools. That's why many PMOs were created, because they should follow the best practices. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm saying that it's not enough, because it's not the end. The point is, a PMO is not only a support area. A PMO is much more than that. A PMO is a service provider. And as a service provider, you have a big challenge, because if you can't generate perception of value, your contract will be terminated. And that's why PMOs are shut down. It means that we need to understand why we exist. And PMOs exist as a service provider because they have customers, directors, project functional managers, project managers, since most of the company's project managers are in the business areas, not in the PMOs. All these guys, they are customers. It means that you are serving them, and it means that they will judge what you are doing. They will have a perception of what you are doing. So customers is the key word, right? The second point is we need to understand their pains. It's not about what you believe is good for them. It's about what they are feeling and how you will address their needs, right? Imagine that you have a pain in your stomach, okay? And you decide to go to a doctor. When you get there, the doctor just looks to you. You don't say anything, right? And the doctor looks to you and say, okay, don't worry. You don't need to say anything. Please take this box. Remember the box? Take this box, because this is the best box, right? And inside this box, there are the best medicines in the world. Take this box, go home, take all the medicines, and you will be okay. There is no doubt that this box, you have the best medicines, the most fancy medicines in the world. Okay, you go home. When you open the box, you find, for example, the best medicine for diabetes. Okay, but what you have is a pain in your stomach. You have the best medicine for heart disease, right? But your problem is in your stomach. Can you understand what I'm saying? When you believe that there is an ideal solution, it means that you are making your needs fit to the solution and not the opposite. And that's the problem. So it means that if I understand what you need, I can prescribe the right medicines, right? And that's exactly the point. Different pains require different remedies. Okay, but the point is, I need to understand supposing that you are my customers, right? I need to understand your needs, okay? I could say, okay, what do you want from me as a PMO? We can provide many different things: methodologies, reports, training, portfolio management. Please tell me what you want. Great, I'm collecting expectations, right? I'm really smart. It doesn't work. And why? Because you are customers. You don't care. You don't care about methodologies. You don't care about reports. You don't care about any of this technical stuff. Your pains are based on results. For example, you want a better integration between projects and strategy. What you want is reliable information to make a decision. What you want is people with the competence in project management when you need to assign them to a new project. Can you see what I'm saying? What can you offer that will make these things happen? Those will be the function of your PMOs. That's why they are different. Because depending on the company, the customers will be different and the needs will be different. This way, the remedies will be different. So, close to the end, the easiest path is never the solution. Let's take the PMO Global Awards again. Last year, the world winner, was Dubai Municipality from the Emirates. You could say, okay, let me take what they are doing and I will just benchmark with them, right? I will copy everything that they are doing and I will be successful. It doesn't work. And why? Because they are Dubai Municipality. They have their all customers with their all pains. You have to understand your customers and their pains. And you will take those boxes that make sense to you. You open all of them and take from one of them the head, from the other box the body, from the other box the tail, and you have your Panda Penguin PMO. And this Panda Penguin PMO makes sense to your PMO now, at this moment. And why? Because you have to remember that a proper solution for your organization should consider something very, very important. And that's our last finding. Consider the maturity of your customers. Let me tell you something about perception of value. You are the technical guy, right? You know, you are the expert. Sometimes you will see that your company should have something that they can't see the value of what you are proposing. Have you ever felt that? Let me give you an example. Let's suppose that we have two people here, one adult and one child, 3 years old child, okay? And I have two options for them. One of the options is the key of a Ferrari, a real Ferrari. It's over there in the parking lot. And the other option is a Ferrari, but it's a toy, a remote control Ferrari, right? If I ask the adult, which one do you want? The adult, of course, will say, the real Ferrari, please give me the keys. But if I ask the child, I know children, they are very smart nowadays, but this one is ingenious, right? If you ask the 3-year-old child, he or she will say, I want a toy. And why? Because the child doesn't have enough maturity to see the value of what I'm proposing. Can you understand that? They don't know that they don't know. So they can't see the value. That's why we have to understand our customers and we can't push too much. We have to respect their maturity and help them to evolve their maturity, their culture. Can you understand that? So that's the point, right? Customers are different and we have to treat them in a different way, especially those important customers like the executive level. And finally, flexibility is the key to success. Let me tell you something that we really see in many successful PMOs. If you have too many beliefs about what a PMO should be, you should rethink your beliefs. Because if there is something that is true about PMOs, is that they don't need to be something pre-established. You can create what makes sense to you, to your company, to your customers. So flexibility is the key. Okay, it's unusual, it's a Panda Penguin, but it's okay. That's what you need now, today, considering the culture and the maturity of your customers. Flexibility is the key. And successful PMOs are seen as great partners. Why? Because you are not trying to push your ideas, your beliefs, your pre-established models, your ideal types. You are trying to create something flexible, something that can fit the real needs. And that's how you can create perception of value. That's the big point. That's it, right? Thank you very much.
Americo, thank you so much. I love that part with the medicine. You go home, you drink all the medicine, you die, problem solved.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And spend a lot of money.
Oh,
right?
yeah, indeed. Yeah, yes, we do have the questions here, but one is from Inga. You see, Americo, could you elaborate on how to measure the value of PMO within organization?
Very good question. Look, there are two aspects that we have to consider. That's what we see in these successful PMOs. We want to create perception of value, right? Okay, there are two ways to do that. The first way is more related to efficiency. For example, are you providing reports? Yes. So how are these reports can be measured in terms of performance? So are they being used by the executives? You are delivering them on time, right? All these aspects, they are related to efficiency. But we need to know how the PMO is generating real value to the organization. So there are two most important aspects that we can consider. The first one is about how the organization is evolving in terms of organizational maturity. You can use a model like P3M3, the PMI had one like named OPM3, so you can use that. And the second point is about perception of value. Go to your executives, for example, and ask them, how do you see what we are doing? Do you feel that we are providing something of value for you? You don't need to provide numbers, but we have to check if they are really feeling that the PMO is something valuable for them. I invite you to visit a website named PMOValueRing.com. At this website, there is a tool and a database with 152 indicators for different functions. So if you are measuring providing methodology, you have a set of indicators. If you are measuring providing reports, you have a set of indicators. All these indicators were created by the leaders of our community worldwide. So it's a good source of information.
One more question there.
Thank you, Americo. And again, thanks for the work you're doing in Africa and Asia and my home country in Sudan. So coming from Dubai and obviously taking so much flights, not as much as yours, my question to you is, you have presented a very flexible and understandable framework. And where I'm from, we spend a lot of money on bringing consultancies, PwC, EY, to set up PMOs. What is your advice? Obviously, the amount, can you help organizations save up money through shortcuts? What is your experience or advice on the amount spent to consultancies in setting up PMOs?
Yes. That's a great question, Mazin. Thank you very much. Look, remember when I told you that the most recent books on PMOs, they propose different models, right? All of these books, they were written by consultants. And I'm not saying that they are wrong. Actually, my experience was as a consultant too. What I'm saying is consultants, they try to sell their beliefs, right? Based on their experience. I'm not saying that it's bad, but if they leave it all the time behind the elephant, what they will be able to tell you is about the experience of living behind the elephant close to the tail. You know what I mean? And if you are close to the trunk, you should have the perception of not following these proposed solutions blindly, but being inspired by what they are proposing and helping them or working with them to create your Panda Penguin PMO. You know what I mean? Because everyone will tell us what we have to do. But the only ones that are really able to define what we have to do is ourselves. right? So there is no magic pill. Everyone will give you a great solution without living your life, right? And if you are not able to think, I'm sorry, but you can't create a proper solution for you and for your company. It's not easy like that.
It's 5 minutes over time. I will become Panda Penguin if we all proceed. But during the coffee break, I think there will be more questions, and now I see the raised hand. So, yeah, we have one more question. Just try to make it quick, okay?
I'm gonna try it. I'm Brazilian, I speak too much.
Lovely presentation. I'd like to ask about money, of course. Based on the different types of PMOs that you see throughout the maybe life cycle of an organization or a project, does your analysis show like any benchmark numbers, how much a PMO should cost, like maybe part of a project budget? Is there such a findings in your analysis?
Great question. After everything I told you, I will ask you, is there any benchmarking in terms of cost that we can compare our PMOs to know if we are doing a good job? What do you think? Yes? No? Exactly. Can I compare if we are preparing a good risk management procedure for our construction projects? Yes, we can do that. But what about PMOs? Can I compare how much my PMO is costing and how much your PMO is costing? And no, because I can provide mentoring, you can provide mentoring, but my mentoring is online. Your mentoring is in person. Of course, different costs. We are delivering different values, but it's important for me that keep it online because we have branches in many different countries. In your case, no. Can you see what I'm saying? There is no right answer. I know. It makes our heart, really, but that's life. If you don't like it, try something different because PMOs are really a really complex phenomenon. It's not really easy, but it's really cool, right? I invite you to join our community, PMOGA.world, right? And it will be a pleasure to have your participation in all this research and the discussion of these ideas. We will be very welcome. Thank you very much and success on your PMOs.